Okay, we're going to create a quick Flask application to go over the basics of creating and hosting a Flask application. So, the goals of this video are to create a Flask app. We're going to host it. And we're also going to go over routes, what they are, how we can have different routes. And also, let's say we might also do a little bit of style and CSS, that sort of thing. Okay, let's go. I'm assuming you've got a GitHub account. Let's click here. So we're on container hosting, and we're going to go click the Flask app. We're going to connect to our GitHub account. And what this will do is it will create a new GitHub repository inside your account with a minimal Flask application that you can use to get started. It's also online so that you can show it and share it with your friends to update live your website. Okay, so once you get this screen, your project is ready for you. Click on the link and it will take you to your GitHub repository. In the background, what's happening is you can see all of the code that's been put there for you. What we're going to focus on is this folder in source web app.py. This is the basic layout for most applications when you get started. It's based on the Flask R project in the documentation. Sorry, Flask R. And you can actually use the same documentation. If you go to the most up-to-date documentation, here we go. You'll be able to follow along with this same documentation because it's exactly the same. You've simply got somewhere quick and easy to host it as well. Okay, so first what we have to do is clone the code. If you don't want to do that, you can also open the editor live inside GitHub, but I'm going to show you how to clone it first. So we're going to put this inside let's create a directory called test. Okay, now we're going to do git clone, and that will start cloning the repository into your computer. Before that will work though, you have to set up SSH keys. And there's a page on github.com that explains how to set that up depending on which operating system you're on. I suggest you do learn how to do that because you'll need to learn that as you continue in your career doing development. However, you can also skip that step and launch an editor inside your web browser by pressing the dot key. I'm going to open up a program called Screen Keys so that you can see what I'm typing. So when you press the dot on your keyboard, it loads the VS Code editor inside your browser so you can start coding straight away. And that saves a lot of time. Okay, so that same folder that we talked about earlier, source web app.py, this is the beginning code for your Flask application. In another window, I'm going to actually go back and open the repo. I'm going to go back twice actually. So this will be your username, github.com, and we're going to go to your repository on the left. So your username is obviously going to be different, and your repository name will be different as well. So what we're doing is we're editing the source folder. You've also got a web address here, and that's the live address of your actual website. At the moment, it's very basic. It's just got a title and some content, and we're going to make a change to that. Okay, so in the tab where we've got the editor open, we're going to create an issue first. So let's create an issue and say, there's no about page. We're going to create an about page. So when people go to /about, we want to have some information there to explain to people what this website is for. Okay, so let's do that. So we'll start by creating an issue. Add about page to the application. Okay, so we'll start with that as the basics. There are issue templates we can set up so that you get into the habit of creating better, more descriptive issues. But for now, we'll stick with that. Now, we're going to create a branch based on that issue. So issue 1, let's create a branch. Let's find out how to do that inside the editor. I'm not actually sure how to do that inside this editor, but we'll find out quickly. Here we go, create a new branch. We'll go 1, add about page. The 1 came from the issue number. And yes, I want to switch to the branch, the issue number here, which you can see in the URL and also just here. Okay, so now Git has switched to that branch. We're going to start adding that new root to our app.py. So Flask has this concept called roots, and at the moment we've got 2 roots. We've got /, which is the index page or the home page, and we've got /health, which is a common pattern that you see in web applications to check the health of the application. So if we go to /health, we get OK, and that's good. We also get a 200 response, which is a HTTP code, but you can't see that unless you open up things like the network inspector. And you can see here, we've got the 200 response there. You might be used to seeing 404, 500, those sorts of errors. Okay, so let's add a new root. I'll quickly do it and then we can explain. So we're going to add a new app.root, and we want to say when people go to about, we're going to create a new function called about, and we're going to return a very simple message. This is the about page. And that's all you need to do to create a very simple page and root. This is the address. This is the text that's going to appear. Obviously, it's not very exciting, but it's, depending on how you think about it, it's quite exciting how quickly and easily you can start to add more roots. And then eventually we can add more information, more features, more functionality. Okay, so I'm going to save that. Remember, we're on this branch, number 1. Now we're going to commit that. So let's go here and we're going to say fix issue 1 added about page root. Okay, and I'm going to press enter. Oh, that's not what we need. Maybe control enter. Yes, control enter. There we go. And now I'm going to create a pull request. So a pull request is a request to merge your new code into the main branch. So at the moment, our main branch is called main. And if we look here, it's actually noticed, it's noticed that we've pushed a new branch, and it's asking if we want to merge it and create a pull request. Let's pretend that you didn't see that message and you've missed it. You can also create a pull request by going here and saying new pull request. And you can say, I want to, notice this arrow pointing to the left. I want to merge this code into main. That's one way to do it as well. But since we've still got that nice yellow alert, I'm going to press it. And I'm going to say this refers to issue 1 so that it's easy to find. And I'm going to create a pull request. But before I do, I'm going to scroll down and see, yes, there's the code that I edited, the code that I added. And I'm going to create a pull request. So ideally, someone else on your team would review this pull request, check it out for any mistakes, spelling mistakes, bugs, that sort of thing. And then if you're happy, you can merge the pull request. And what happens there is the code gets merged with the existing code which is on the main branch. There we go. And because we've got some automation set up, you see this yellow amber glow here. We click there, you can see that we've got a deploy job running and a release job running. That's visible in the actions section here. And the release job is what releases a new version of the application. So from version 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. And then the deploy job is what contacts the server and sends the new code to the server. And during that time, a new container is built, which contains your code. And then the web traffic is stopped towards the existing container and sent to the new container. So if we're quick enough, before it finishes, we can go to our web address on the left and we can say keep going to the about page. And at the moment it's not found. And we can follow along and see the progress happening. This is what's called a pipeline, which comes from the DevOps sort of world. You can see that we're deploying the new container right now. If that wasn't successful, you'd see red and you'd see errors here. So at the moment it's not found, but you can see it's swapping over from the old container to the new container. And if I refresh now, fantastic, we've gone live with our new code. And we should see eventually on the left-hand side, it all goes green. Green is good, there we go. Now, obviously with videos, it's all very happy because everything goes right. And in reality, when you're coding or you're learning, lots of things go wrong. There's loads of opportunities to make mistakes, but that's really important because you get to learn more and more things. Don't see a mistake as something that is your mistake and you're not going to learn. It's part of the process of doing technology, really. It's discovering new ways of doing things all the time. I was just lucky that I didn't make a typo in that instance. You can also run the code locally so that you don't have to wait for that pipeline to finish each time. But it's also nice to get that almost instant gratification of having something live that you can share with your friends and also have a taste of what automation is like from a DevOps perspective, because you might have seen online DevOps, automation, Python, all of those keywords, but never really understood how they all go together. And this is a beginning taster of how that might, how those tools might interact with each other. Have an explore, maybe as a challenge, add a different route. So we've got about here, maybe add a contact page. There's not found at the moment, maybe create an issue for that. You can create your own repo by going to container hosting to start your own app. You also have a database available, and we could do another video about that, how to create a database table, how to put and get information out of that database. I'll leave it there for now. And yeah, please have a go and let me know what you think.